This is my first time ever reading in front of people. Okay. What's the point of human life if we're almost always sleeping? We spend 8 hours a night conked out, lifeless, on a bed, and then we awake the next morning with only a story to tell. Something about how a demon attacked me in the nighttime. Blah, blah, blah. It's the same thing at the end of our lives, too. Somehow we end up on another bed, lifeless, in an obscure hospital, and the only thing we've got then are more stories to tell. Once I went to college and I slept with this lady, then I got married and I had this daughter. Nothing else. Nothing to leave with. And just an empty bed left behind. So if that's all that life comes down to, and I'm sorry if it is, then what or who makes the best story? Is it the guy who says, I worked all my life on this meager salary to support my children? Or is it the girl who says, I traveled the whole world and I played all these shows for these magnificent people? I don't know. Maybe it's the guy who keeps all those things in his heart and he says, you know what? My life is a secret and it's going to go to God. But somehow, I'm prone to suspect it's neither of those. I'd like to think that the person with the best story is the one who inspires others to make their own. Perhaps it's the person who can say, just before they take that plunge into the deepest sleep yet, one day, I woke with this feeling. I had a dream that I was singing at the top of my lungs and it felt so good. So, what I did is I got up and I did it in the shower. It felt really good then too. And I figured out right there that it was my dream to sing in front of a real live audience. I wasn't too good at it though. But I practiced. And hey, my voice got better every week. I eventually joined the church choir, and it got so good that folks started paying attention to me. I even started singing at people's weddings. It took a lot of sacrifice to do though, and I haven't stopped since. Whenever I sing, it's a reminder to me and a testament to everyone around me that I turned a dream into a reality. If I could do that, everyone else can. But man, I wish I had dreamt of curing cancer or something. Because I would have done that instead if I had thought of it then. But you know what? There's someone else out there who's dreaming of curing cancer, and I'm telling them, follow your dreams. In here.
An unmovable weight that will crush great atlas. You are as close to me as sparse tissue and unwanted birth news. You are my grooming friend who is there when I wake up and who takes away my sun. I want to get rid of you, but it is as impossible as moving an unmovable object, or stopping an unstoppable force, or as establishing complete world peace. You're there when I wake and when I sleep, but also when I walk this urban landscape. Perhaps you are something that I cannot dismiss as easily as bad logic or a bad day. Perhaps you are an obstacle to be overcome. You are there where I see a beautiful woman expecting for flirting with her. And you are there when I'm alone, as some welcome company. When I try to find the derivative or integral, you are there making the simplest things difficult, making the difficult impossible. Melancholy, you are one whom I must defeat. You are around me of joy and excitement. You have made me unsure of who I am or what I am. One day I will overcome you and rediscover who and what I am.
There's like a gun pointed at my head. And on top of that, more than that, it's the one of 4 times that my friend Shino has ever saved my life. It happened not in New York. It was someplace far. A non-disclosure agreement keeps me cold, and it keeps it cold. I find it strange that I'm speaking about this here. I find it strange that I'm speaking about this now, only because it's such a raw experience to this day. We were matadors in that moment, but when that gun was up against me, I felt like a bull. I found it interesting, and simultaneously I found myself so incredibly weak and hopeless that I didn't feel human. To this day, I cannot handle it, and to this day, I still wake up in cold sweats. In that single moment, I knew that my life was out of my hands. The only saving grace that I had that day was my friend Chino. Chino means Chinese in Spanish. It is his nickname. It is not his real name. His real name is Joshua Vasquez, and he's the man I know. He's the man and the reason why I'm alive. I remember hearing him speaking in Spanish in the background. None of the men there spoke Spanish. They're all Polish. They're all people that knew where I was from. They're all people who were of my people. I am Polish, I am German, but more than that, I'm culturally raised to be Polish. They knew what I did and they knew what I was from. And some of them were even from the same village as my grandmother. But on that day, we had copious amounts of wit and courage. In vodka and arguments don't mix, especially when men have weapons. In that moment, we weren't matadors. In that moment, we were bulls. It was the running of human beings. In that moment, I saw more darkness in a man's eye than I'd ever seen in my life. I am changed because of it, and I am nothing new and nothing old because of it. I have been at the very bottom and at the mercy of another human being. And all I remember is Chino speaking Spanish in the background. Supposedly Shakespeare said, life is a play, and every person is an actor. We were playing our part. But Shakespeare must be a fool, because in that scene and in that part, I was speechless. I had no lines, no clever wit. And I am known as a man who cannot shut up. And all I remember is Chino speaking Spanish in the background. We were humans being with liquid courage in our blood and weapons in our hand. And in that single moment, when I had it pressed against my head, that bitter steel, I realized, wow, it's warm. And every muscle in my body tensed up. And they teach you in your biology classes that your organs, they don't have muscles. But in that moment, everything was tense. In that moment, I felt everything, every heartbeat. I felt my veins contract. In that moment, I was an animal. But so is the man who was pointing the gun at me. His name is Bogdan, and I still see him occasionally when I go back to the land of my grandmother. Siznik will always hold a special place in my heart, not just because it's where my family is from, but it's where I heard Chino speak Spanish in a language he's not. The level of fear that it takes to bring a bull is interesting. And in that moment, I had more clarity than I've ever had in my life. And in that moment, when the gun was pressed against my head, I thought to myself, this gun is warm. This has probably been against his body this whole night. This is a strange human connection. Thank you.
I walked familiar streets and unfamiliar. I saw the homeless suffer, inflicted by fanatics falling from the sky. I wept and mourned my fellow New Yorkers who can no longer argue, laugh, and love. I walked towards Chinatown, walking unfamiliar street yet familiar, knowing that change is the only constant in this city. Lost in this logic of a city long gone, I received a text from an unfamiliar friend that was invited to dinner. Sitting among friends and strangers, I noticed things not in them but in myself, and something else, and someone else now. We make small talk and depart, where I walk down familiar streets in order to find myself.
It was coined by Winston Churchill because he used to suffer from depression, and this is the term Black Dog Days was what he called his bad days. So it's basically a personification of depression in very sexual terms. So, Black Dog Days. You've been here before. The soft portion of naked lips dotted with bite marks, the sliver of exposed skin and the curl of dark hairs peeking over the waistband of Dangster underwear as she reaches up to fix her hair. You've seen it all before. She'll approach you slowly, pretending not to know what's coming. Her eyes will widen and you notice that the white is being red from the drugs and the tears. You see yourself reflected in her sanguine eyes and you wonder how it came to this. Each action has been rehearsed to perfection. You could do it all in your sleep. Instead, you settle for a state of numbness, stagnation, dead like your lover's eyes. But it's not a dream and you can't fly away. There are scars on her wrists. You count them and kiss each new one fondly. Your number has increased and so they have changed. You show your appreciation. Your hands grip tightly at her bony hips. They know their way around. In a second, your mouth will be filled with the bittersweet taste of iron as you bite down hard on her lip. She will moan softly and lean into it. She revels in the pain. She's been here before. When you are finished, you will leave her, and she will beg and wail and bleed. She will grip tightly to you and promise you the world, but you will leave her anyway. And she will waste away in the darkness, filled with longing, marking the passage of time with the razor until you return for more. Then she will open up slowly and let you in again with thanks in her eyes, and the dance resumes until death.
She meant a lot to me, and at that time I felt like I was just one stone searching for another. So it's two parts, and I wrote it in a certain way. I kind of fell in love with John Milton's writing, and I read literally everything he's written. And I'll start part one. From the beginning alone, as days go on, a wandering stone near waveless pond. The sun rises and sets, its gleam with hope, its partner the moon, together they cope. For the stone alone, no partner in sight, but waveless pond, his hope yet searches with might. Glorious day with beauty, afar another stone beyond. Could it be an angel from the pond? With smiles it approaches, lying down near the stone, with endless happiness, to never again be alone. Part two. As days go on, two stones abreast, no mere content, but pure happiness. The sun rises with adulation, envy. Her moon reconciles frenzy. Two stones oblivious with love, ripples in the pond set by a dove. As the pond ebbs endlessly, as so the love of the two stones, propitious eternity, love they share to others unknown.
Please don't let these organic avocados fool you. If you look closely, you can see the revolution in my eyes. My heartbeat sounds like war drums, and my tongue has a tendency to ignite flames, and you spark something in me when you approach me and ask me what I'm doing. Well, let me inform you that I've got more right to be here than you do. See, 20 years ago, my family bought the brownstone up the block. 20 years ago when they used to call Myrtle Ave, Murder Ave. 20 years ago when thugs were our law enforcement because officers like you didn't think calls from my neighborhood were important enough to respond to. Back then there were more candlelight memorials than street corners. And my mother used to tell me that the pops I heard at night were just quiet practice. As if anybody had anything worth celebrating. So for 10 years, my mother would wake me up at 6 o'clock every morning to drive from Brooklyn to Bayside because the schools were better out there, because the streets were safer out there. And I guess that's where I developed this love-hate relationship for my neighborhood. Because even though this is my home, everything was always safer out there. But we changed that. We organized neighborhood watches, developed block associations, and opened up after-school programs and summer day camps. Long before the organic supermarket and hipster thrift shops, long before the cruelty-free takeout restaurant, we built up this neighborhood the same way my ancestors built up this nation. So in the name of the blood, the Native American blood that stained the soil, in the name of the flesh that was whipped off the backs of African slaves, in the name of the sweat that poured from the bodies of Chinese railroad builders, I've got more claim to this land than you do. So the real question, officer, is what are you doing in my hood?
Not bothering anybody. Teacher comes by, asks me what I'm doing. I have no answer. No, I'm listening, teacher. I swear I am. Dilations, axes, and points are all very important to me.
Yeah, it's about like my ex-fiance. We broke up like, I don't know, close to 3 years now. And like, I've written a lot of stuff like in reference to her. It's usually all like, oh, boo, my heart. But I don't know, I woke up one day and like, I don't know, I wasn't feeling so angry about it, but I was just feeling, okay. It's like, everything that happened is okay. So I wrote this poem, it's really short, it's called Your Essence. Is that a leaf or a cobra's back you've stashed yourself in, green and veinous, to shroud your venom, your essence? I feel your sting no longer. That's it.
So this one is called Tourist. I was on the platform minding my own business this morning when I made the mistake of making eye contact with a flustered tourist, his comb-over hair ridiculous from wind. He put on a dopey grin and asked me in his endearingly broken English, "Please excuse, do you know this train?" I was like, "Do I know this train?" And I broke it down for him. I said, "I know this train. My knees and ankles know its turns and shifts, don't need no railing to cling to, save the seats for the old. When it rounds the curve from Jefferson to Morgan, Manhattan bound, loaded with morning shifters, conversing in sniffles, I close my eyes and listen to its crickets. Under the river, my ears pop, and once they pop, there's no stopping, no slowing down, no sleep, till Brooklyn pops them back into place. Fuck out of here. Yeah, I know this fucking train. I've had to sleep on it the same way every other man who fucked up so bad even the couch wasn't bad, doghouse enough has had to sleep on it. I pissed between its cars, dodged the piss of others, and learned that you can't know where a man is coming from until you've ridden a mile in his piss. I've seen the way it feeds the frenzy of summer heat until the sweat that soaks it is joined by blood and teeth. How it turns housewives and mothers into full-grown replicas of their own screaming offspring and revivifies the immortal teenage spirit. The old man with nothing left to lose as he toes up to the candy man with nothing left to sell. I've talked to its cops, comforted its criminals, learned its religious monologues by rote, its hate speeches too, all to a soundtrack of mariachis, folky juggalos, and anyone else just looking to be heard. I know the shit out of this train, you fucking tourists. Yeah. This one here is called Mascara and Scotch. I think it kind of goes along with it.
Love this song.
Poem too.
Right where you want me. Oh, you got it under my skin. Mascara and scotch dripping down my face and up my chin. I never wanna sleep again. Oh, but I'm so spent, like a dollar owed, like a dime in a jukebox is playing rock and roll. But still I've got the urge, never sleep again. How could I rest in this sleepy climate without a touch of medication? I'm working in quicksand. That's why I never make any difference. The rich stay rich, and the honest stay honest. on your chest in need of consolation, soaking up your words and your gentle caress across my skin. Mascara and scotch dripping down my face and off of my chin.
Your hands send shivers up my spine. I mean, damn. Can't you feel how cold our bed has become? The way we wrap our legs around each other and then turn our backs on each other. And once our heart rates go back to normal, I'll go back to being invisible, you'll go back to being distant, and we will be the best of strangers again. And as I cradle my dying soul in my arms, after it's been stabbed with every thrust of our pelvises, you make your way down onto the floor. Because you'd rather sleep on cold, hard tiles than spend an entire night in a bed next to me, and I'm trying my hardest not to become angry. But even the sweetest girl will turn bitter if she swallows enough bullshit. And baby, I am fed up with this crap we keep pretending is love. Do you know how many nights I cried myself to sleep after making love to you? Because sex has just become part of my job now. Which would make prostitution seem like a promotion, because at least then I would be compensated for my pain. And nothing hurts as much as being madly in love with a man who doesn't even like me. But in the hope that I could win back just a bit of your affection, I sacrificed everything. I have nothing left to give. And yet you expect me to write you a love poem. Oh baby, your hands leave dirty fingerprints all over my body, and your toxic kisses taking my breath away.
You know, I was walking down this neighborhood. There's no black people there. It was just me. I'm walking down this street, and I could feel the attention. There was no one else on the street. It was 10 at night. But there was no one else on the street, and I could feel the attention. I could feel everyone looking at me. I could feel myself being scrutinized. I could feel, people in their houses peeking out their windows, looking at me like I'm doing something wrong. I was just visiting my cousin. But so yeah, this is called silent scrutiny. I will never find comfort in this silence, where my heavy stamp is amplified. No voices but cracks from no voices but stares from cracked eyelids, and ears that do listen while their figures hide. How is it possible to be scrutinized by relative ghosts?
It's called Song of Myself of my New York, and it was inspired after reading Walt Whitman in class, which was just an amazing experience for me. So, Song of Myself of my New York. I am the Van Gogh grass tossed sideways by the East River. I am the burnt amber of an autumn whose mistress is summer. Sweltering, muggy Manhattan summer. Toe-skimming Dumbo water. I am the gray slabs and faceless buildings of millions of tiny windows on the corner of Washington Square Park, Avenue A, Roosevelt, Rockaway, Dyckman, Columbus, Bedford. I am the warmth of the babushka, bosom cradling a child by the gritty boardwalk as the Staten Island breeze caresses our faces, one weathered and one as shiny as a new penny. I am the worn boots of the hipster girl, slouching sweater and face of nonchalance, though we know she cares. I am the polished shoes of Wall Street, shoes so shiny the Statue of Liberty waves back. I am the breeze that blows beneath the Brooklyn Bridge, magnificence. Stench, cigarette butts, littered coffee cups that pollute my mind. I am the square brick buildings once full of sewing women, fabric and leather standing a shadow of old ghosts on Kent and Fourth. I am the immigrant worker, sweat-caked brows crying, America, ti amo. I am the powdered cookies locked away in a box, raspberry jelly, center of the universe, haloed with white sugar dust on glamorous Madison Avenue. I am the veteran shooting up enemies, shooting up love and forget-me-not drugs back in Hell's Kitchen on Beach 19th, corner of Baruch College, asking, will you forget me, New York? There I am, eyes closed in a Shakespeare slumber beneath, a whistling New York moon, lacking in stars, yet filled with stars. There I am with my New York, rushing, pounding, flowing in my blood, my dream sleep on this metallic lull of the train. And there I am, dreaming of you.
Theory of friendship. Over time, with great meditation, I found myself contemplating the reality and pith of friendship. I've even reviewed numerous studies of persons who elucidate their past friendships and companions. It was with extensive and prominent evaluation of how the components of the concept suffice. Surely one may dwell on the facets of loyalty. However, there were more to the theory than one may ruminate. Friendship indubitably portrays earnest allegiance. Nevertheless, do not deter where the opposition rarely frames as a proponent. The contrast pertains to deceit and possible treachery. Nonetheless, my prose may seem a tad severe, yet my objective should supply a relative response in the defense of the matter. There is no doubt that many men and women who have betrayed their counterparts, however the inclusive purpose of companionship and camaraderie derived from, accepting all attributes and characteristics. If one can no longer endure such revelation and description, why bother with the theory in the first place? All pursue the ideology, however disregard the methods within. My first friend was a boy named Robbie. We met in high school, and we were both on the wrong path. We spent all of our time together. We shared each other's food. We shared each other's bed. We did everything together, and at that point in time, it felt our friendship could last forever. However, as we became older, we were beginning to contemplate distinctively. For instance, I wanted to complete high school and go to college. However, he wanted to play basketball all day. Though I chose to pursue an academic pursuit, my decision has left me without a friend. If the abstract concept of quote-unquote friendship truly existed, why then did Robbie and I not remain friends? If friendship pertained to these theories and ideas, loyalty, forgiveness, sharing, caring, embracing, etc., why then Robbie and I not remain friends?
It's been a while. Alright, cool. Okay, this is it. I'm dreaming of sugar cane and tough love. Good morning, girl. Good morning, girl. Good morning, girl. I don't have was sleeping on 3 feet of wood. Doesn't feel as good. Good morning, girl. Good morning, girl. Good morning, girl.
Lingering thoughts of the broken, almost famous. An aqua boy from the BX who just has a mic and a dream. You know what I mean. I'm not that good with girls, but I can sure enough spit a quick soliloquy, sprinkle it on some poetry, and have it surf a good flow. Sadly, though, this alone is not enough to get recognition. See, the truth or the pain in a poem has to be enough to reach a person's soul. Well, at least that's my goal. I never make a poem for someone to laugh or say, hell no. I make these poems for people to think, put their minds in sync with mine, if only for a little bit. Problems that I myself have dealt with or see in a recurring cycle. Like I grew up fatherless till 18, but by that time it was too late. He was dead on arrival on the scene. But again, this is just thoughts from the broken, almost famous. A black boy from the BX who is kind of okay with girls, but he just wants to get his voice out.
Tonight. Tonight, let's forget about forever. Let's put happily ever after somewhere neither of us can reach. Let's lock always out in the cold. Tonight, let's not worry about clearing the skeletons from our closet. Let's not worry about all the dirt we've swept under the rug. Let's not worry about what we may find when we unfold time and iron out the creases. We can leave those chores for tomorrow. Tonight, let's not concern ourselves with making promises. So don't promise me the stars, they're not yours to contain. Don't promise me the world, it's not yours to give. And certainly, don't promise me eternity, because it's not yours to decide. So tonight, let's just forget about the pain of the past and the pressures of the future. Tonight, let us love presently. Here and now, you and me. See, time is fleeting, and once these moments are gone, they can never be reclaimed. So let's inhale the passion of these minutes, allow these seconds to fill our lungs, and make memories that we can replay for hours. Tonight, I promise, I won't beg for mercy. So say my name like it's the only word you know. Kiss my lips like they're the only thing giving you breath. Run your fingertips down my back as if the secret to life was written in braille along my spine. Tonight, the moon will give us privacy. And in the morning, the dawn sky will blush a rosy red, and the birds will mimic the music we made together. And in the future, when life's burdens seem too heavy to bear, we can reminisce about the lightness our spirits felt tonight.
It's a little more recent. It's called Throw Yourself Away.
Oh, we have 3%.
Memorize the moves of a great culture and gave into the vulture. So I decided to be through with the assassins and the kids who kill for the thrill of silencing. Throw yourself away, don't save yourself. Throw yourself away, don't save yourself. Well, I tried to find her, but she's not there. Just lost those tracks in the city of despair. Winding round the fact that things fall apart. Have a heart, sister, don't you know you've started to throw yourself away, don't save yourself. Throw yourself away, don't save yourself. In a bit of
of impatience. Records cross culture, have records, great records on the back of the vulture. I'll go to the heart of the sun. We've set the controls for one. Like days of old, bad horses still get sold. Mistakes get made, I will blaspheme. Just like eagles who think they've made the same ones extinct. Girl, you got another thing coming. Throw yourself away, don't save yourself. Throw yourself away, don't save yourself. In the theater of impatience, records cross culture, have records, break records on the back of the vulture. I'll go to the heart of the sun. We've set the controls for one. I'll go to the heart of the sun. We've set the controls for one. La, da, la, 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 da, da, la, la, la,
So you told me you were dying. You told me we had 3 years to love. 3 years to love more passionately than any couple ever did. You told me that no man ever loved as hard as a man who lived on borrowed time. You told me that there was nothing you looked forward to more than holding me for the first time, to cradle my head and cup my face, to hold me close and spin me around and never let me go. That our life together would be full of music. You promised that your voice would be mine and only mine to cherish. You promised you would never hurt me, and that there was only one way you ever could, and that was inevitable, and you were sorry. 3 years. We promised to make the most of 3 years together. 3 perfect years lived in wedded bliss. And I worried deep down inside that I would have to be the one to hurt you first. That I would have to tell you that I needed to run because I couldn't live with a terminally ill man. I thought I would be the one to break your heart, and I struggled with the guilt of that idea, that I would someday break you. But you broke me first, and so shattered am I that no amount of love and reassurance of my friends, of my self-value, would ever heal this heart. All that matters now is that you keep your final promise. All that matters is that you spend every moment until your last suffering, and all that matters now is that you continue dying.
It's easy. You just pick a direction and go around and around and around. Here, you try.
And around and around and around.
Girl, you're even stupider than you look. Pay careful attention, little girl. I do not care about you. Your father certainly didn't. Why should I, huh? Take a long, hard look, daughter. This here is your life. The failure is in your blood. And you can never outrun it.
Thank you all so much for coming. You all made this a really huge success. For those of you who want to get any more food or like the remaining food, also a reminder, we're accepting donations for relay for hike, so if you